Hey, Love Learning You community. I am live super early on a Thursday morning. So I wanted to give a quick update and come on here. First of all, I have a curious question. What time do you usually wake up? And does time seem to be important to you at this stage of your life? That's actually two questions, but I have been an early riser since I was born, kind of. Like, I have been this way since I was a kid. I'm often very energized early in the morning. So I tend to think I'm just wired this way. Um, Let me know in the comments. Do you need to sleep in and you're more of a night owl? Can it be one way or another? Um, so I wanted to hop on though because I was supposed to give you all, you see this thumbnail for this video, how to research your DNA patterns. And I was going to be going live on this past Monday, 5/11. Well, you all, I tried two different times, got 30 minutes in, and there's two things that happened, and I'm okay with pivoting. Okay. Um, there's two things that happened. One was I didn't feel like the flow was there. And I felt like this isn't quite right still. I had looked at my presentation, I had made some notes for you all, etc. And I had also pulled some different websites and screenshots I was going to share of some DNA analysis from some of my own data sets. And I got on two different times on the live stream. Now, I will tell you, I've not live streamed very often. You'll see only a few times through the years here on this channel. Um, and if you haven't, be sure to hit subscribe if you are liking what you see from the content, the titles, etc. I will let you know though that in those two different attempts to live stream, not only did I feel off, I got cut off two different times, 30 minutes in, and it just said, we can't process your live. It's saying I wasn't connected to the internet, but I clearly was on my laptop, all the things. So these things happen, obviously, but I wanted to come on here and just really kick off with a couple curious questions about thinking about how we're wired. Sometimes I think that and I'm a person who has a couple certifications in personality and understanding personality, communications, how we respond to conflict and stress in our lives, etc. But sometimes we're complicating this. So when I talk about introspection or reflective processes, that's exactly what I mean. Asking yourselves questions like, wonder why I always get up so early. And now sometimes I think that's because of the cosmos and the planets. And sometimes I think the great creator wakes us up or our ancestors. I think there can be all forms of explanations. And that's just my own personal take. You're going to have your opinions too. So pipe up in the comments because we absolutely do not all experience life in the same ways through the same lenses, but we can learn a lot from each other and from sharing. Another note is to watch like for me, this is a note for me, watch my levels of certainty. I often will be like, yes, hey, hello, hello. I do think a lot. I do think a lot. I see people popping up in the comments now. Um, but that is one question. So somebody brought this up in the chat right now. Does thinking hamper our ability to be present within ourselves, within our very selves? And I think that see, I said it again. I think that it gives us roadways, but it can also cause extra unneeded suffering, is what I'm realizing. Ooh, we got another chronic overthinker. I, anyways, going back to introspection and reflection, though, that is where I find myself. So I'm often asking myself a question like, well, yeah, what are you going to do when you wake up this early? Why do you wake up this early? All this to say, sometimes we have the best laid plans. And then, just like on Monday, because I finally posted, I'm like, guys, I'm doing this live workshop. And then it didn't work. Now, do I also think there's information that gets suppressed in these algorithmic platforms and that's going to continue to ramp up? Yes, I do. I think we all have to be aware of that in the world we're living right now. But one of the reasons that I actually want to shift even how I'm doing workshops on this channel, the guests that I'm lining up for the next season of Featured Voices here is because um, I want it to be more real. I've gone through my own phases of figuring out how to share. And as a researcher, that has felt uncomfortable, even though I used to be a teacher and principal. So I do know how to, put on a face. But I don't want to be that way, especially when it's like, oh man, I don't want to let people down because I said I'm going to do this thing. And then we run into these tech issues and we think, oh, we can't pivot. First of all, we're all going to see the world how we see the world. Secondly, we can only look within ourselves to understand then how am I showing up for other people? How am I absorbing what other people will choose to share with me? Let me look at the comments real quick. I'll do a good job at work, come home, worry that I mess up, go to work, get told I did a good job, and then repeat it all over again out of curiosity. No, no, I am not. I am happily in a relationship. Thank you for asking. um, but I am up early before my house is up. So I want to go back to this comment. Thank you for your comment, Beach. Same. I have also struggled with those thought patterns, that kind of perfectionism loop. I think that's personally a product of number one, how we grow up and what is kind of conditioned in us to um, kind of even our definition of like what's a good person or a good worker or a hard worker. And that has gotten me into trouble as like an over perfectionist or an overthinker because we want to do our best. But I start asking myself then when I find those patterns, I go, okay, well, who do you want to do your best for and why? And what does your best look like in those situations? So, um, anyways, if you're here, thanks for stopping by. I will typically address comments. If they get a little bit rude or inappropriate, then no, that's not going to be a conversation point. But I wanted to practice just going live a little bit again. Um, uh, wow. Well, that's an interesting concept. You're projecting a lot. This user says you would drive a guy insane with all of your introspection and philosophical analysis of everything. Well, the first thing, and hello, Roy, to you. Hello, hello. The first thing I would say is, first of all, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your perspective. Secondly, I would say, yeah, a guy, depending on the guy, there's billions of guys in the world. So we all have to think about when we make those statements, like you just said, you would drive a guy insane with all of your introspection and philosophical analysis. That is possible. But when we are aligned with who we are with, then we can complement each other. Yeah, I drive myself insane sometimes. We all do. But then we also can't go around like that was a projection. Maybe I'm driving you insane right now, sir, ma'am, whoever you are. But I understand what you're saying, and I am modeling for you all. This is often how my brain is already thinking the moment that I wake up in the morning. And so, because of that, yeah. Before they do or speak, yeah. I don't know. And that's a great question, too. So, there's another comment about a good thought process. What do you all think about this concept of non duality? I'm realizing over time as I get older in this life, when we label good or bad, how does that help us? How is it still necessary in our world? I do think there's fear and love, and that's essentially saying the same thing. And also, I don't know. I don't know. For me, I do, yeah, I'm trying my best. And it's something I noticed in myself of like, it's my thought process. Try not to label it good or bad because I need to sit with it and understand it. And then there are times, truthfully, all serious, um, oh, eat shrooms for proper reset. Repeat until you realize you're irritating. Well, sir, once again, or ma'am, Max, whoever Max is, I love your suggestion. I am an herbalist, and you're also projecting. You said repeat until you realize you're irritating. You can say more about that if you like in the comments. So we have two people in here who have jokes. Um, and then there's, oh, YouTube is asking me to put a sticker. Do you like spicy things? See, so it's so interesting how these systems work for me and who clicks on things, who decides to make comments, and who doesn't, and the assumptions that we make about each other. So I can go by these comments right now and even look at how some of you are assuming things about me just by me sharing openly. And because we are also in a space on social media, in the next 2 years or so, a lot of this content will be about 75% generated by AI. So because I also study language patterns, it's very easy for me to see in the comments when people are projecting something within ourselves. I'm projecting right now. I'm telling you what I'm thinking because I'm choosing to do that. If you decide it's irritating and you project that, that's none of my business and I don't care. So you have wasted your energy if you believe that, oh, well, if she just did this, well, you're going to drive a guy crazy. So, what's the purpose? Do those comments make each of you feel better? Does it make you feel better about the world and its systems and the people that live in it? That is what I typically seek to understand, even as a cultural psychology researcher. So, if you're wondering why I think this way or why I'm up already thinking this way, it's also my line of work. So, not it only is it part of my personal story and why I talk about unpacking your DNA, your origin story, your emotions, all of these different things that are under that umbrella of applied cultural psychology and neuroscience. That is who I am. It's also a lot of my story of growing up in a as a third culture kid. My mother's background Amish and my father Puerto Rican. So I share about these things only because I think I'm special. I think every human on earth, we have work to do to internally accept all of the parts of who we are. Um, that's genuinely what I believe. Okay, well, okay. Well, if it helps, sure. Well, you guys aren't saying much in the comments anymore. So I don't have anything to say back to it because there are two of you. Slow down, take a deep breath. The, why are you telling me what to do? Does that make you feel better? All right. So I've given the live a chance. I hope people come back and watch this. I hope people can also see the comments because to me, everything is an opportunity to learn more about ourselves. And it's interesting how we have a couple people who have joined and have already decided to tell me what they think about who I am. I also really loved Beach, your comments, Roy Flores, Joseph. Thank you for all of your insights. Hello to Jared. Okay, so it's so interesting too because the thought pattern was first one of you as commenters, you asked if I was single, and now you proceeded to try to tell me what to do because you think I'm thinking too much. Well, you're jumping ship right when we want to explore. What would you like to explore? Because I have about 1 more minute until I'm going to make some breakfast. Go ahead, ask your questions in the comments. I'll wait. I'm a former teacher and principal. Go ahead, ask your questions. All right. Okay, well, the comments are there. We have Max and somebody call a name, a username. Okay. Well, you've had my attention. No more energy right now to give this. It is, you want to, so this isn't a live about my personal life. So this also shows the levels of operation of different humans in our world right now and what we think we have access to just because somebody's sharing a part of their personal self. This is also why a lot of people are hiding behind AI It's an open forum, but you're not asking me any questions about what I just asked, which is what time we like to wake up in the morning. What time do you do your best thinking? Are you a night owl or a morning person? Those are the two basis questions, and then giving the community an update around featured voices and guests. A thought you wanted to share? No, I don't have those thoughts to share with you all. So the live is over. There's my moderation of the comments because we have commenters who you're going to understand that if you show up on pages with real life human beings, that you don't need to go into these routes when it's completely off topic and then gaslight somebody into saying, I thought you wanted to share, when you've already projected your thoughts onto a woman. You've already projected your thoughts and you do not know I, because you do not know yourself. Okay. I'll see you all soon. The live workshop, it will be recorded because I want to be able to share my screens with you all. And when we look into the DNA panels, we will go far beyond just what you get with Ancestry, 23andMe, all of these kits. I'm going to go a little deeper into what's required, specifically if you're in a United States context and you have Native American bloodlines, Caribbean bloodlines, etc., like I do, and then also just from all over the world. So I had on my initial panels, I have around 22 ethnic groups that I have DNA from. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I want to understand the ancient origins and I want to go a little deeper as a cultural psychology researcher, looking at that lens and how our DNA presents and shows up. Okay, so we've got another troller bot saying, why do you love me so much? YouTube, I love you for what you offer. And then also, we've got a lot of people out here who are all over, or they're just deciding to make comments. So I send love to all of you as well. Please show up in spaces that align and resonate. And when they don't, you don't have to waste energy on things. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Take care. Namaste.